Hey, y'all.
That new jam in there.
I know, right? Hi, everybody. We are the SyFy Sistas, and we are so happy to be here with you today, part of Virtual TrekCon 3. Woohoo! Yay! VTC! VTC! We are so happy. We're delighted. Everybody's back from the cruise. The family's back together. And we have an exciting, what we think is an exciting panel, and probably going to be pretty controversial. And we hope that you guys are chatting along with us and start to put down your choices too, because what we are bringing to you today is the SyFy Sistas Star Trek Top 10, the women. Okay, so really quickly, does anybody have any comments about the process that we went through to get this top 10? Yes, I knew. Sabrina?
Why did we do this to ourselves again?
Oh my goodness.
Again. Yes. Again.
It was something.
I think we're pretty good at it right now. I don't know.
Yelling and screaming and bitching and moaning at each other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're really good at yelling at each other, and
Hello, everybody.
Hey, good to see the chat pack in the house and everybody else from the mothership too. What's up, y'all?
Hi,
David.
David.
In the house.
David Gregory.
Women
yes,
at work.
Hi, David. Hi, Anne-Marie.
Okay, we could go on this list forever. We got a lot of our friends in the house. Hi, Portia. Hello, everybody. Okay.
Scott.
Oh, that's my boy, Scott. Okay, so let's get down to it.
Okay.
The SyFy Sistas top 10 Star Trek women, right?
Yep.
And so this list, I think that people might have some preconceived notions about who we might have chosen for our top 10. And I think that you all might be pretty pleasantly surprised and pretty shocked by who some of these people are. So we're going to start as we were, right? All right. We are going to start with number 10. Who do you all think number 10 is? Before you roll it, Yvette, I want to see if anybody has any guesses out there in the chat about who you think is starting off at number 10.
Who you think, we think, that you think is our favorite.
Hey, Luz. Okay.
War Dog, my brother.
Nurse Chapel, Torres. Those are some good guesses. To Paul. That's another good guess. Okay. Are you ready to do the reveal? Bev Crusher. All right. Ta-da, Linda.
Yes.
You are correct, baby. It is Beverly Crusher.
Yeah. Beverly Crusher.
All right.
And
I'm gonna let Yvette speak to why Beverly Crusher is our number 10.
Well, I believe Beverly Crusher, and I think most of us did. Beverly is a commander. She she's really brilliant. She's a mom, and she is Wesley's mom. People forget that she raised Wesley. Jack wasn't around. He died when Wesley was 5. And from what we know, he wasn't really around even when he was alive. So basically Beverly is the genius, and she raised another genius. She destroyed a Borg ship. She was a commander way before Riker was. So he's only her commander, her boss, because of his title. And I just love that Beverly she's not going to take Picard shit. She doesn't take anybody's, she's going to do her thing. Even if she's in trouble, she's going to take it and just go with it. But she does have a good moral center. She's a brilliant doctor. And I think that she doesn't get the due that she needs. And I'm glad that we added her to the list.
Yes, we added her to the list after much consternation and argument, but
that's right.
But she still deserves to be on the list.
She deserves to be on this list. I am not particularly a huge Beverly Crusher fan, but the reason why I acquiesced to her being on the list is that what we talked about in our fracas last night, that Beverly actually, like you said, she was a commander before Riker. She was sitting in that seat. And I love the idea that she was the one that inspired Troy to go on and become a qualified commander. Not Riker, but Beverly.
Yeah.
So that's why I give Beverly props. She was a woman who mentored another woman.
Yep. Yeah. I like
okay. All right.
Beverly. All right. Fran grudgingly. Hi, Brian.
yeah.
All right. So it's Beverly Crusher, number 10.
I was cool with Beverly. Like I was cool with Beverly. She almost got knocked off the list, but I kept her. So
yeah.
Because she deserves to be on. I feel like she deserves to be on there. All right. So moving on to number 9. Any guesses who we have for number 9? Throw them out there now.
I forgot who you had for number
9. Okay. I'm getting a bunch of number 9.
You ready?
All right. Okay, we're gonna reveal number 9. Jadzia Dax. Number 9 is Jadzia. Oh, we had some good guesses. Guinan, Cass, Troy.
Cass.
Our number 9 is Jadzia Dax. And she was a controversial choice amongst to make the top 10 amongst the sisters, but some of us fought for her. Myself being one of them. Fran being another. Fran, you want to talk about why you wanted Jadzia?
Well, I thought she was cool, brilliant. I thought she was really smart. She stood up for rights. She stood up to Worf. She married Worf. And she was just, I liked it when she kept her word. The blood oath with the other Klingons. And also in the beginning of DS9, we thought Curzon had did something really bad and Curzon didn't. Somebody else did, but she didn't tell. She kept the word and she didn't tell. She knew that Curzon was with this other lady when this attack happened, so he couldn't have did it. She stands up for herself, and I like her integrity, and I also like the fact I loved her friendship with Cisco. I love that, and it was I just loved her as a woman, and she didn't care how you looked. Whatever. Okay, so she dated the guy with the transparent skull because she didn't care how you look. So that was it. It's like, oh, come on, that's so superficial. And Kira's like, oh no, transparent skull, no, no.
But
I'm with Kira.
That she didn't care how you looked. It was that weird things attracted her.
But I think it's a little bit both. I think surface stuff didn't matter to her.
Right.
Superficial stuff didn't matter to her.
All right, so we'll go back, but she didn't care how you look.
Yes, she doesn't. She really doesn't. Then one of the other things was, I don't know if this is her or not, but when the guy came for the blood oath? When he came, he said, Curzon, my old friend. And she says, I'm Jadzia now. And he says, Jadzia, my old friend. That touched my heart. That really touched my heart. He missed a beat.
That's not her. That's the character.
But that's with that character, it mattered to a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it does. It totally does. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying that's not one of the. I love that moment too, but it's not one of the reasons why I chose Jadzia to be on my list, because that was the reaction of another character that was saying a lot about with this other character that made me love him a lot more, And I think that, I mean, Jadzia, she's just too cool. Like when I was coming up, I didn't have any Black women role models like Jadzia and Kira. Like Jadzia and Kira had to fill that void for me. Like they were kicking ass and taking no names, especially when they started writing Jadzia so much stronger and more confident and less like of a dingbat, you know, because they had her like play ditzy for so long. And I'm like, she's
first.
And right at first, right, and then like as was mentioned in the chat, like she has lifetimes of wisdom. You know, this is not a dingbat. You know, like she's got some gravitas. You know, so I was a huge Jadzia fan. So yeah.
I think well, you know, that wasn't the character, but they used the character to get the point across that who you are on the inside doesn't, you know, it matters. You're still the same person. If you change the surface, the inside counts. So
right.
And they used her to do that.
I think Jadzia had to be on this list because she means so much to so many Star Trek fans. You know what I mean? She is the reason why we love Trills. You know, I when I think of Trill, I think of Jadzia. I don't think of anybody else. You know, I only think of Jadzia. So, and the fact that I can't even watch, like when the last episode of season 6 comes on, for some reason I always forget until like there's like this one point when she's talking to Bashir about having a baby, and I'm going, oh crap, this is the one.
This is that one.
And then once, you know, if I even watch it to the end, I have to take a break from DS9, breathe, and maybe 2 days later, I'll go back and finish season 7, because still to this day, it still hits me wrong, because it was wrong. The way they killed her, it was just wrong, you know.
Right. It was wrong. We agree, but we need to move on because we only have a short period of time, and we've got 8 more women to get through who are all phenomenal and continue to get more amazingly phenomenal. But you're right, because I'm still holding a grudge, and I will never forgive them. Ever.
Me too.
Ever. Getting rid of my girl.
Right.
All right. Who do y'all think is at number 8? Dun, 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 dun. Number 8.
You're never gonna get it.
I'm waiting to see some guesses out there. I'm ready. I'm gonna say number 8, y'all. Okay, we got to guess with Troy.
I already put it.
Number 8 is Captain Freeman.
Captain Freeman.
I see DePaul, Ro, Torres, Kira. Those were Waxana. Those were all good guesses. Thank you, Luz. I'm going to sing it. But our number 8 is Captain Freeman. And Yvette, you have some really compelling argument for why Captain Freeman is included in this list and why she's so important. And she was a unanimous choice, y'all.
Yep. So I wanted Captain Freeman to be on this list because I didn't want her to get left out, because in the short time that Lower Decks has been on, she's been in every single episode. She is a fierce captain. She's a captain that was a black female captain that was not dead when we met her. She has the admiral. Her husband's an admiral, and they have a daughter that they're trying to, you know, save from herself. So there are an intact family, black family, a power couple in Starfleet, and she does the damn thing. You know, no matter what people think of her ship or her command, she does that damn thing every single week. And I know it's supposed to be about Mariner and Boimler and the other two, but Captain Freeman comes correct every single episode. And I did not want her to be left out of this, because she's a fierce captain. I mean, she doesn't leave anything to chance. She's a powerhouse, as some people are saying in the chat.
Definitely. She said, I am a great captain.
Yep.
But now I'm the one that I was the one that was really kind of lukewarm about animated series in general. So, you know, I've come around, so please don't yell at me in the chat. But what I love about Captain Freeman, like he said, and I was voting for Captain Freeman, which surprised even me. But I love the fact that she's voiced by Dawn Lewis.
Yes.
That is like shout
That
out
is-
to
Yes.
Dawn. That is coming
Yes.
back to a different world.
different
I'm
world, baby.
back.
Woo.
So
It's
I
a
love that.
different world. Yes. Okay. Mhm.
Okay, right.
And where you
So-
come from.
And I
Okay,
love
I'm
that
doot-tooting today.
Captain Freeman is someone who knows that she's the bomb,
Right.
but she's not being perceived as that. And her struggle is trying to say, like, why am I never getting the kudos and the attention? Or why do they treat my ship like this? We
Yeah.
could do so much more. I love that part of her story. And
Yeah.
I think that's why that's why I put her on the list.
Jaleesa, that's right.
That's, all right,
Mhm.
now,
She
Sarah,
played
there's-
Jaleesa, our girl.
So that's why I said yes to Captain Freeman.
Yeah.
And I want somebody to explain that last episode to me. So, I'm waiting.
Well,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, there's a lot, but I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt.
I'm going to just.
Because it hasn't let me down yet, unlike
Yeah.
Exactly.
some series, but I'm gonna move on.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to move
on.
on. That's
We're
right.
gonna move
We're
on.
going to move on. We're not going to go there today
Okay.
because feeling the love. I just want everybody to note that I'm not shy about saying what my favorite series is, period. So there you go. Anyway.
Mhm.
All right. So number 7. I bet you all
Oh,
are going to be
sorry.
surprised by number
Did it?
7. Okay,
Spoiler.
well, never mind. Number 7 is a tie between two very important women to the Star Trek franchise, DC Fontana and Jerry Taylor. Two women that we could not leave out of this list because DC Fontana started doing the thing for us when we didn't have any other voice represented
Mhm.
in those production meetings and in the writer's room, or to Gene Roddenberry. To say, yes, Gene, I love your vision. It's sacred to me too, but I'm also going to bring along my sisters with me. DC Fontana is everything for us, right? And then Jerry Taylor picked up that torch and carried it so well
Mhm.
throughout the TNG era. And, we love her because even when Gates McFadden was fighting the sexism behind the scenes, Jerry Taylor had her back and gave us some of the most memorable TNG stories that, so we love us some Jerry Taylor. She's a living legend. And I mean, I think we're really blessed that she's still with us. And so she was even at one of the last things that we participated in for the Hollywood Food Coalition fundraiser. So it's amazing. So that's our choices there. Anybody else have anything further to add about DC Fontana and Jerry Taylor?
DC wrote my favorite TOS episode, Journey to Babel.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite TOS episode. And she gave us so much and she packed so much in that episode. It was just amazing. So, and remember now, this was back in the 60s.
Yeah.
She was a pioneer. She was a woman writer. And we know how the reason why she's called DC Fontana, because she couldn't be, submit her stuff under Dorothy. So she had to use her initials. And that's,
that's what she was living.
DC.
That's the time she was living in. That's how
Yes,
bad it was.
yes. And Jerry Taylor, was instrumental on Voyager, with the woman lead there. So I liked her.
Yeah.
Remember, Jerry Taylor is the one that gave us the Marquee. She wrote both of those episodes.
She did write the Marquee.
And
I'm not going to hold that against her.
Listen, that was a long story arc that went.
That was a very long story arc.
Yes, it did, and
it had some great payoff.
Yeah,
had a lot of good characters came out of the Marquee. And DC Fontana was a big inspiration for me when I was younger. I mean, I used to write my name S.L. Williams, which is my maiden name, for years because I so loved DC Fontana. And she wrote one of my favorite Star Trek episodes, The Enterprise Incident, which had one of my favorite characters. I would have put her on another list of one-off characters, the Romulan Commander. And if you look at, the Romulan Commander had been one of the best characters I ever saw. Cat's Paw, she wrote Charlie X. I mean, come on. She wrote the Ultimate. She did the teleplay for the Ultimate Computer. The original script of the Ultimate Computer was all about the computer, and DC turned it around and made it about Kirk losing his power to the computer and made it a whole different story. So yes, DC Fontana, Jerry Taylor, we had to put him down.
Yes, absolutely. And hopefully Nana Visitor's project will help shine a light on all these women, a much deserved light. I can't wait for her project, The Women of Trek, to come out, because we're going to be all over that. Yep. So moving right along, number 6, it's only getting better, y'all. I really got to know who you all think is number 6. Okay, thanks. Don't click it yet. Sorry. Trigger finger over there.
Yeah, that's me.
Yep, and she brought in Daystrom, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah.
No,
who do you all think
is
no guesses for number 6? Okay, I see 7 of 9, Tasha. Two 7 of 9s.
And 2 Tasha.
Wow.
Balana.
Oh, well, 1 Tasha, yeah.
Ganana? Who's Ganana?
All right, Anne Marie. And Troy, Kira. 7. Wow, there's some heavy 7 love out there. Okay.
Okay.
Our number 6 choice is Majel Barrett.
And note how we name her. Yes.
Right. Majel Barrett Roddenberry. She is the queen.
Yes.
And we owe so much to her. First of all, she put up with Gene.
Hey.
That's number 1. And she helped corral that genius into and funnel that into our Trek that we love, right? So that's number 1. The woman gets props every day for that. Yeah, from me.
And she was the first woman that we saw in a Star Trek. Really, if you did it chronologically.
Yeah, if you did it chronologically.
If you did it chronologically, she's the first woman as number 1. I mean,
number 1.
Yes. She was the number 1.
And she was kicking it as number 1 too. She was not playing a docile little lamb. She was in full control up there. I think Riker studied under her, because I got some, she was like, I'm number 1. You notice that swagger that she has in that episode? She's amazing.
Yep.
That's Yvette's episode.
That is so I love Majel Barrett because of everything. She is everything. I mean, she is the voice of the computer. She is Nurse Chapel. She is Loxana Troy, who I adore. Because she gives 2 shits about nothing. Except for Deanna. And that's the way it should be. She only cares about Deanna, and that's it. And I love that about her. And the fact that I never liked TOS until The Cage came out while TNG was on. And when I saw that, I was like, who is that? What is what? There's a number 1? Wait, what is going on? And I was hooked. And Cage was the only TOS episode I would watch. I would watch it over and over and over again. I still watch it all the time. So, I love Majel for just everything. She is, and when she plays Loxana, I'm just done.
I love her.
Absolutely.
Dark Page. Yeah. I love Dark Page. That's so good.
She does. She don't, like you say, she don't care. She's gonna be Loxana Troy. She's gonna say what she want to say. And I think a lot of times she was hitting Picard on the nose when she said, "Oh, Jalu, those stars." I don't think she was making up all of that.
Oh no, she wasn't making up nothing. She was reading his mind.
She was making up anything.
I think he got all indignant and everything. Like she was like, "Oh, I'm like, yeah, you're there."
Like Jean-Luc, you wish. But I also love Majel Barrett because after Gene's death, she kept Star Trek going, and she did a lot with his other works that she had she was privy to. So the other series, I can't remember the name of the other series that came out after his death, and she was responsible for getting that up and on. So Majel Barrett Roddenberry, I love her.
Yep.
I mean, this is thanks, Melissa. We think we did give it some thought and a lot of debate, but that's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it thought. It wasn't argument. Nope. It was debate. It was very strong debate. Andromeda. Thank you. Thanks, War Dogheim. Okay. So this is perfect. We're running along time-wise perfectly because we're halfway through the list. And I'm pretty sure that number 5 is going to shock everybody. I think this is going to be the shock of the list. So y'all, what are your number 5 guesses?
I'm not even gonna look because they're not gonna get it.
I know. They're not gonna get it.
We're
challenging you guys. We don't think you guys are gonna get it. But
remember, we think outside of the box because we're the SyFy Sistas.
Not yet. Not Janeway. Not Cass. I've seen Cass up there a lot.
I have
cold, getting warmer. Cold.
I have a feeling that Lucy's going to be really upset with us. Number 5 goes to Melissa Longo. It is Kai Wynn, baby.
It is Kai Wynn.
Melissa Longo, you got it.
Yes.
All right, Melissa.
It is Kai Wynn.
Kai Wynn made the top 10. I mean, and a lot of these guesses are on one of our personal lists, but did not make our collective SyFy Sistas list. So don't feel discouraged if you do not see your favorite on the list, or do and write us and yell at us. It's okay. But Kai Wynn, I put Kai Wynn on my list, and the reason that I put her on is because when I started thinking about the characters that left an impact on me throughout the years, that I continue to think about all the time, that I continue to have a strong reaction to every time I see the episode, is Kai Wynn.
Yep.
You can't deny the power of this one. Plus, like, not only was she just Louise Fletcher just played her so well as a bad woman, as a villain, but she was complex and she was a powerful woman in her own right. And she wasn't truly evil. She was just very selfish and power driven. And she was I saw her as very much a politician, but she had gained so much in her career. She had accomplished quite a bit, and she did ultimately not ultimately, but throughout her time in her position, still tried to do some good for the Bajoran people. Like, she wasn't a dictator, for instance, for most of her career. She made sure that her people were fed and well kept, and still tried to talk on their behalf. So that's why Kai Wynn was my choice, that she had to be on the list.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Kai Wynn?
And she was a space Karen. For sure. If there's a space Karen, it's Kai Wynn. She didn't know that she was on the Parade side instead of the Prophet side until the end, because I think the decision she made was Parade-ish instead of Prophet, because they never spoke to her. She said that. She said, they have never spoken to me. And that's one of the reasons why she was so jealous and envied Cisco as being the emissary, and they spoke to him. But Space Karen, that's her. Well, that's another reason why she's on here, I think. I'm
sorry.
Go ahead. I'm finished. I'm done.
Kai Wynn is on my list and Yvette's list for the same reason. And it's the episode when the Power Wraiths came to the station to have the reckoning. And to this day, I cannot watch that episode without having a major meltdown over the fact that here was Cisco ready to give up his son. Here was Kira ready to give up her life. Everybody believed in the prophets except this bitch. Left it alone. We would have Cisco, and it's all her goddamn fault. And that's why I hate Kai Wynn.
It's so true, because it's what, 30 years? And we're still pissed
at her.
We're mad at her.
We are still pissed at her character. I mean, Louise Fletcher is a phenomenal actress that we are still really pissed off at this damn character. I mean, when I see her, if I start I watch season 5 of Deep Space Nine constantly. So, when I see her show up, I have an actual physical reaction to her, seeing her face on the screen. I get these little pricklies. I'm like, oh, this bitch. It's like, oh. But, she makes an impact. You know, her arc is incredible. You know, and she is not the star of the show, but it's not the same show without her, that's for sure.
My child. And she would throw that out there that sounded like
but she
poison.
said it with such grace, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think it was grace.
She had that sweet
Venom
voice. My child.
I thought it was Venom too. I didn't think it was grace.
Definitely Venom.
My child. And every time she did that to Kira, she was like, I want to hit this woman in her throat.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
All right.
we've dropped that bomb.
Yes, War Dog.
All
I was
right.
just a little upset about.
I know. Sabrina, calm down. Here you go. Feel that? You feel that? Okay.
If the reckoning happened, bitch, we would have been.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Moving along. Number 4. Guesses for number 4. Throw them in. Hot and heavy, y'all. Who do you think number 4 is? Because it's starting to get tight now. We only have 4 spaces left.
4 spaces.
There's a lot of women in Star Trek. And I know some of y'all are starting to get antsy. Like, where is my woman?
It's my girl.
Where are my peoples? Oh, there are so many people being
Raffi,
on this
Kira,
list.
Look at that.
Hey, Kira.
There were a lot of choices.
But look who wins though. How many people are saying Kira?
Guess what? Y'all are right. Number 4 is Kira, baby. None other than Colonel Kira Nerys.
The one and only.
And she is the best. I mean, if I could have picked she was my role model, like growing up. That's straight up, you know. And especially I met, you know, when Deep Space Nine was on, I was, you know, in my college years and defiant and felt like, ooh, revolutionary, like power to the people, you know, like all the time, you know. I was like, you know, down with the system, down with the man, power to the people. Like Kira was my girl, man. Kira, straight up. She was fighting for it. But then, you know, she went through this incredible arc. And then I got to see as she was going through this arc that it sort of gave me permission to grow and to soften and to not be scared of change too. Like Kira's the shiggity.
Yeah. Yep. And she was a unanimous choice.
Louise said, end of list.
My favorite Kira scene is when she is trying to tell them, I think the Cardassians, that she was going to blast them out of there if they stepped foot on that station. And he said,
the Romulans.
The Romulans, yeah. And O'Brien looked up at her after she cussed these people out and said, remind me never to play poker. That was the Admiral. The Admiral said that. The Admiral said that.
There was so many.
Somebody.
It was so many.
Kira had nothing in her hand, and she was like, oh, yeah.
I'll mess you up.
I'll mess you up.
With nothing.
Man, the best scene ever is her strapped to that bed, pregnant, telling that fool that she was going to kill him.
Right?
And I'm like, you ain't got nothing. You strapped. But she was determined, and guess what? He's dead.
Yeah, that's right. My favorite was when she put that beat down on Damar.
That's my favorite too. That's what I was gonna say, friend.
Beat down on Damar. And I also read an interview where the guy Casey Biggs that played the part. He wasn't too thrilled to be beat up by her like that. And when she was on, when we did the thing, she said she did hear that. She did know that he wasn't satisfied with that storyline. But she put a beat down on him. He looked like he had been kicked in the head with a mule when she finished him, because he should have kept his hands off of that child. You know, he had no business doing that. And she put a beat down on him. He deserved it. So yes, I loved it.
Yes.
Casey Biggs is in a big club of people that got beat down by Kira, so not alone.
Yes, he should be. You know, he's among great company.
Yes, he is.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, we're getting to the tight spots, y'all. Damar looks so ashamed. He got a bumpy eye.
He had a straight up bumpy eye.
He sure did. He had a straight up bumpy head.
Right.
Like, ooh, you got beat by a girl.
Again.
That's right. Sure did.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
Number 3. Who do you all think made our top 3? We're going to start with number 3. Dun, 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 dun. Number 3, number 3. Number 3, number 3. Dun, dun. Number 3,
Raffi,
number 3. I see
Torres.
Torres and Raffi and Burnham and Janeway. Dun, 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 and Guinan. Oh, y'all are going to be so mad with us when this list is over.
No,
Okay. Number 3. Who said Michael Burnham? You are correct.
Yes.
Number 3 on the SyFy Sistas top 10 women of Trek is Michael Burnham, because there ain't no way somebody gonna be getting in on this list before Burnham.
That's right. Well, there were
Ain't
two,
no
but
way we gonna leave Burnham off this list. Y'all know who you talking to?
That's right. SyFy Sistas.
Michael Burnham
Our
is
girl.
the reason why we exist.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That character.
So, I mean, we cannot overstate the importance of this woman playing this role at this time and how much she means to us. And I don't care what your feelings are about disco. Don't care. She's my girl. She's our girl because she's standing up for us and she's representing for us and she's doing it with grace, with dignity, with charm, and her character is growing. Amazing.
So much. She's a genius. They established that she was a genius when they said way back was this season 1 that she graduated top of her class on Vulcan. Okay, so she outsmarted. She was smarter than all the Vulcans in her class. So that was her genius cred right there. So yeah, she is the smartest one in the room. Sometimes you have to be. So
yeah,
and she is our, as Tamia says, she is our reason for existing. The SyFy Sistas.
That's right.
So
there were other people that we thought about, but Michael takes it, even though she's new, her importance is too big, it's too deep.
Yeah.
Who else has anything to say about
we love her too,
Captain Michael Burnham?
Too, Trek fan.
I just I think Michael Burnham means everything to Star Trek fans now that are looking at her the way Fran and Sabrina looked at Nichelle Nichols Uhura when she came on. Because even though there is Black representation on TV, this is a meaningful Black representation for women.
Mm-hmm.
There are the girls nowadays, they're not, and I think we've talked about this before, they're not looking for just a face on the TV. They want to see you doing something and something meaningful. And she's doing it. She is the captain. She is, going through heartache, going through whatever,
saving
being a criminal, being called a criminal, all kinds of stuff. And these are things that mean everything to these new fans out there. Like I try to tell people, oh, I don't like Discovery, but you know what? Discovery's not for you. Maybe not for you. Just because you don't like this series doesn't mean it's for you. There are people out there who adore this series, and that's cool because that's the way it should be. There's so many series, we all love them, but Michael Burnham and Discovery, they made it possible for us to have the rest of this stuff coming on. Picard, Lower Decks, Prodigy, the Brave New World. It was because of Discovery and Sonequa Martin Green. From what I understand, they waited for her to be finished with whatever she was doing so she could be
the dead people.
Dead folks, so I think when we say, oh, we don't really like Discovery, that's okay. But maybe it's just not for you, because it isn't. Mm-hmm. It's for this new generation. And we need to realize that TNG wasn't for TOS fans. Mm-hmm. TNG was for that generation. And DS9 was for a particular segment of the population. I mean, come on, it's Black Trek for a reason, But I just want people to know how important her character is to young women and young men who see a captain, because that's what they expect. They don't expect to see just anybody on TV. They want to be represented. They want to be represented well. That's all I got.
And she represents.
Right. Yes.
But we knew, but we also knew that even before the series came on and they showed the trailer of her and Captain Georgiou.
Yep.
And we got all this stuff from the peanut gallery because they showed a captain and her first officer, and they were women of color.
Yep.
There was the Asian captain and the black first officer, and the show had not even premiered, and we got all this blowback and stuff. So watch it.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
But that just what you had described, Fran. So in my house, that made the most. You have no idea the impact it made, because my children are mixed. They're Chinese and black. So when they saw those two women on the screen in a Star Trek, because they didn't watch Star Trek like they do now, but they knew their parents did, and the impact it made on those three children.
That's right.
You have no idea. That's why I try to tell people you cannot judge these shows because they're not what you are used to. When you were that age, you were into TNG and not TOS. You were into Voyager and not TNG. Nope. Most people who like Voyager and DS9 maybe don't like TOS, and that's okay too. Just like us nowadays, that's why Prodigy is out, because it's for younger population. So we need to get out of that mindset and understand that these people, they know what they're doing. I'm not a big fan of a lot of this stuff, but that doesn't matter, because Star Trek is for us and it's supposed to continue. And that's why Michael Burnham's on the list.
For me,
and she deserves to be.
And Sabrina?
Thank you.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
No. Everything was great. I love everything you guys are saying, because Sonequa is the thing. But for me, I love this list, and I love Sonequa on this list because she is truly, outside of being on the screen as Captain Burnham, she is such a great representative of Star Trek around the world in all of the other things that she does. I mean, she gets it. She understands where her history is of being the first black female captain of this and running this franchise. And yes, you would not have Strange New Worlds coming out if it wasn't for the fact that Sonequa Martin Green was successful in this show. Yep. So without Sonequa and Disco, you would have no new Star Trek. Picard would be sitting at home. It wouldn't be nothing. So yes, that's all I got to say.
And that's yet another SyFy Sistas mic drop.
Boom. Boom. Disco is the flagship. That's right.
Disco is the flagship.
It is the flagship. Yeah.
All right. Well, so there's our number 3. Yep. Now we're moving on to number 2. I wonder who you think that we think got a spot over
top Sonequa.
Top Sonequa and Captain.
Yeah.
There's two people at top Sonequa, and you heard our passionate pleas for Sonequa. So
we have two. We have B'Elanna, Guinan, Janeway, Raffi. Oh, you guys are going to be so. Yeah, and I see we have 2 winners out there: Melissa Longo and Anne Marie.
Wait, was she in the room?
Was she in the room?
You guys, did y'all eavesdropping number 2?
They were listening.
I can understand Melissa,
Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball. Without Lucy, there's no Trek. But it goes deeper than that, Yvette.
So I
or Sabrina, but I know Yvette, you were speaking really passionately about it. So
Lucy is just my favorite, but the fact that Lucy as a woman, she was a famous she had a famous TV show. Her and her husband bought out RKO Records, RKO Studios. I think it was RKO Studios. And when Desi left, she took over everything, and she thought, this Star Trek thing sounds pretty good. Let me look at this. she gave us Star Trek and she gave us Mission Impossible. These two franchises are still around making billions of dollars. Okay. And this came from Lucille Ball, who was a genius, especially a comedy genius. And she had the foresight to say, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And she, her and Desi were big into reruns, and that's how Star Trek got the way. I mean, this is how our Star Trek became our Star Trek. It's because it got famous in reruns. It was playing always, all the time. And Desi and Lucille Ball were famous for getting reruns started. So they pioneered a genre of reruns. They had a studio where they got people to come and have all of their shows done. I don't know. There's no Star Trek without Lucy.
Right. This is at a time when women were not running any studios in Hollywood.
No. She had the money, because I don't care about the Federation, but the United States, you need some money.
That's right. You need some Latin, boy.
That's right.
So yeah, Lucille Ball is number 2.
Because Desi was gone by then. He was gone from the company.
Yep.
It was Desi Lou, but he was no longer part of the company.
Right.
Yep.
So it was her idea.
Running everything in that world.
Yeah, she was running it. So
yep.
If you haven't seen Being the Ricardos, I suggest you do watch it. It is a great it's a side.
I liked it too.
Yeah,
it was really good.
It has nothing to do with Star Trek, but it's really good.
Yeah.
Well, it does, because it has to do with, because Star Trek, I believe, is mentioned in there.
I don't remember
when they talk about that. In the end, I think in the end when they're talking about getting Desi Lou, it is mentioned that, and I think Mission Impossible. But I've been watching a lot of Lucy documentaries, so I could have
because there's another one.
I just said, Yvette, can you put up Sci-Fi Maven's latest comment?
Yeah, the reason why syndication started with Lucy and Desi is because Desi had the foresight to film on videotape, and no one else did. And videotape lasts, and that's why he had the reruns. Everybody else retaped over their shows. So he did not, and it was expensive, but that's what he did it, and that's why you still see I Love Lucy today, and you don't see any other shows from that era on TV.
Yeah,
and they pioneered the 3-camera filming.
Yeah,
that was Desi. That was Desi. Desi was the radio.
I say they.
Yeah,
I know. I'm just saying.
It was on the Desi Lou, and he had to agree. So
definitely, because she was,
they were both.
They were definitely partners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Sabrina said, what woman was doing that at that time? And she just, she took it over. She had the money. She had the place for them to do the productions, and it's history. We're blessed because of Lucy. We have Star Trek because of Lucy.
All right. Okay. So I see some people taking guesses. I don't have to prompt everybody to take guesses at who number 1 is.
And all kinds of
people are going to riot if it's not Uhura. Y'all are going to say, screw you, Sci-Fi Sisters. We're not listening to you anymore. You're going to throw down your earbuds and storm out of the room. It's going to be chaos in the streets. It's going to be like melee. The Sci-Fi Sisters crashed the internet because it wasn't Uhura who was number 1.
Mad people.
Get mad, be mad, be glad, be mad, be glad.
Our number 1 top 10 from the Sci-Fi Sisters Star Trek Top 10 The Women is Uhura.
That's right.
Of course it's Uhura, silly people.
Who else would it be?
Who else would it be? Come on.
Who else would it be?
She's our personal goddess, It's like all hail the queen, There can be no other. She is everything for us. Without her, there's no Michael.
That's
straight
right.
up.
That's right.
Straight up.
And
without
her, there was no diversity.
Right.
And without her, no elder black Trekkies. Yeah. Oh, I just told on myself. Okay.
You've been told.
Yeah. People, I tell people, and I don't understand why they don't get it. But I'm like, I'm a Trekkie. I got Lieutenant Uhura on my license plate and all that. And I'm like, you don't look like a Trekkie. How do you become a Trekkie? Like, well, okay, I don't live in my mother's basement, and I'm like, I am a nerd. I'll give you that. However, when I tell them the real fast story of me being 11 years old and looking up and seeing this woman on the screen, not in a subservient role, who's talking and people are actually listening to her. Mm-hmm. She's gorgeous, she's smart, she's articulate. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So at 1966, y'all. So what else would I be but a Trekkie? Mm-hmm. And I always centered her if she was on the screen or not. It was always Uhura, me and my grandma. My grandmama didn't have a clue as to what was going on, and sometimes I didn't either. However, I love Star Trek, and when you look back on it, she was placed strategically behind the captain. So when you saw the captain, Kirk, basically you saw her too. Whether she was just up there pushing buttons or have the thing sticking out of her ear, she was visible most of the time when she was on there. I love Miss Nichols. I just do. And she influenced my life. She just influenced me. Little nerdy colored girl.
She was everything. Yeah. She was boy, how do you encapsulate her, right? Like she strove to be more, like when those moments in the movies when we got to see her do more than just put the hand up to the ear. She was the woman that I could look up to that make it possible for me, to know that life outside, like greatness in life, was achievable.
Yeah, it's I'm from the time with Fran too, so I was 10, and this was absolutely major. And I think we've said it a lot of times, and I think people have heard us say it over and over again. But the depth of it, I don't think people really get, because at this time, science fiction was really just for kids on television. It was a kind of a joke. It's not what it is now by any stretch of the imagination, and it was always white men. That's it. And it was just, blobby aliens, or somebody was going to kill somebody, or, guys had bazookas and they were going to shoot the blob, or whatever. So this whole show, not just Uhura, but the whole show's concept was mind-boggling, that it was a future and it was clean and bright, and we were doing things that wasn't just like a one-off, we got to kill the DMA. I'm going to let that go. But it was a whole big thing was going on, and we loved it. And this Black woman was right smack dab in the center of it, like you said, Fran. And you couldn't take that camera off her, because if Kirk had it, there was Kirk, there was Uhura. There was Kirk, there was Uhura. And we were looking for her. So it was major. And I really do appreciate everything that she did in the NASA program. I followed that so much. The whole space program, beyond what she did for Star Trek. She is absolutely a gift to this country, and we wouldn't have a lot of things. We wouldn't have all the representation in the space shuttle program and everything else that we have without Miss Nichols. And yes, she is a huge, huge influence to me.
Because
and I just want to. I was about to say, I just want to say that, like, you can hear in depth all of our thoughts about Miss Nichols. We did a show about her, so you can go to our website if you're interested and catch that show that we did about her.
Kurtzman tells the story of Mae Jemison, and they were somewhere together. And he asked her, how did she become an astronaut? She was the first Black woman in space. And she said, Uhura. I saw Uhura. So she has a lot of influence, with in real life, as Sabrina said. So,
right.
And as Portia's saying, yes, we had quite a few people on this list. Luce, we are sorry, B'Elanna is not on the list. We fought for B'Elanna. I'm telling you, I don't know why she's not on the list, but there was only 10 spots. And well, Luce, I'm sorry. Luce, I'm really sorry.
So look,
there was a lot of people that should have been on the list, but there was only, I mean, we actually squeezed 11 people onto a top 10 list. So there was a lot of people. I mean, you know, that we definitely wanted on the list. I mean, but it's just not enough room for everybody.
no,
Well,
and
technically
we keep doing this.
Technically, we only had 7 spaces because when we sat down, we knew 3 people were going to be on the list.
Yeah.
We knew, and I said, let's just write down these 3 people because I know all 4 of us know these people are going to be on this list. Yeah. And that was, of course, Uhura, Micah, and Kira.
Right.
So technically, we had 7 spaces left.
Yeah, I think there's talk of doing a part 2. Listen to the podcast, you know, because there are so many incredible women that we couldn't fit on the list. I know some of y'all, I've seen it in the chat, are pretty miffed that Janeway is nowhere on this list.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
Oh well, you know, she's with the SyFy Sistas. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we have a little bit of time. I mean, Balana was definitely in the room.
Yeah, they were. She was.
They were in the room for sure. Absolutely.
It was on the list.
You know, so
delete
the wife there. Captain Admiral Cornwell was there.
Yeah,
and she just missed the list.
Because, yeah, we were fighting hard.
We were fighting for Admiral Cornwell because she is. I love that. I love that character. So
we were fighting for. Some of us were fighting for Raffi.
Yeah,
really hard.
I was fighting hard for Raffi.
Yes, you were. Yep. Yes, you were.
But
I don't want to give them.
Hopefully, Picard.
I was fighting for Keiko. I was fighting for Keiko.
I fought for Keiko too.
Yeah, you fought for Keiko.
Keiko. Mother that she is.
Listen, that woman
but I mean,
through it.
Keiko.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to try to come up with this list. That's for sure. You know, and I was surprised by what we. How the list actually finally came out, you know, when it came down to it. Yeah, I think, Luce, we do need parts 2 and 3 of this list. Because how do you put it down? I mean, but the top 10 is set in stone. SyFy Sistas top 10 is set in stone, baby. And you know, it's going to take some time for that to change. Some of these women that we talked about, like that we just discussed, they simply compared to the gravitas of some of the other women, the depth of history in Star Trek, they just couldn't make it up there. It's not because we don't like them, you know. They just couldn't crack the top 10. But they're in the room, like you said, they're in the room.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Space
you all
Karen's accepted.
If you all had been what's that, a fly on the wall in the room? Ooh. Oh my goodness. We put ourselves through it.
Yes, Aaron Fraser. Roxana made the list.
But not as Roxana, as Majel.
As Majel.
As Majel.
Yes.
We will never believe the way.
So
that is my favorite part of my Janeway.
Okay, you guys, we hope you all really, thank you so much for joining us today. I mean, it's been really fun. And Chat Pack, our paw is strong. We love you all. We love everybody from the mothership who is here and from Camp Kittimer that's here. And so thank you all. And Women at Warp, we love you all for hanging out with us today. Check us out at SyFySistas.com. Check us out on Facebook on our page, or at the SyFy Sistas Mothership. All of that is scrolling on the bottom. And check out our podcast everywhere that you can get a podcast. We are there, babies. We love you. Thanks, Anne Marie. Thanks, Melissa. Thanks, Seventh Rule, for asking us to be a part of this. We love you all so much. We out. Hashtag sarcastic Vulcan salute.
Bye.
Bye.
Plug the merch. What merch? Oh yeah,
what merch? I'm not wearing merch today. We have merch. Oh my God, we have merch in our store. We have T-shirts and bags and everything.